Hello, my dear Virgo. This is your love and spirituality reading for the time between June 1st and June 15, 2018, with me, Queen of Cups Tarot. I read for the signs in order of most liked videos, so don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and reward me for my efforts of reading for you. I have put astrological information for the month of June in a video of its own that you can check out in my playlist Q&A. You can also find it at my webpage www.queenofcupstarot.se. The reading can go both ways. The message is for the people who watch it, so if you cross-watch for another sign and recognize yourself as the main person of the reading, just trust your own intuition and you will get the message you need. I have added a new deck to my general readings that I have been using successfully for my private clients for long periods of time. The lovely Osho Sen I will use for the more spiritual mid-month readings. The new deck is the Druidcraft Tarot by Philip and Stephanie Carr-Gome, illustrated by Will Worthington. And I will start shuffling your cards. Okay. So when I open your deck here, I see the Star card and Eight of Wands. So it seems like you are very lucky, Virgo. With the Star card, it's about having great intuition, having the divine by your side, your guides by your side. It's healing. It's also like you see your spiritual path being laid out before you and your life path. And with the Eight of Wands, it's a lot of energy being downloaded to you right now. It can also be very lucky events where people are connecting with you with happy messages or messages of healing. It can also be that you are you have a very great connection with the spirit world and actually you're kind of talking with them on an everyday basis, even if you don't know it. So the Eight of Wands can also be clarification, like healing old wounds by communicating them and getting someone to understand you, or maybe understand another person and show grace and gratitude and like this where you take the role as the healer or the person that that kind of helps other people to clarify and see what's going on. Okay, so it's very beautiful cards. So I call the divine with love and light, and here we have the Ace of Pentacles with the Eight of Wands. So it seems like there's a new start for you in your life. Something new is happening. It's like an opportunity or a gift. It might be a windfall of money, love. Yes, it can be many different things, also like opportunities with business and career and buying a new home or getting an opportunity to travel, maybe, since the Eight of Wands is also like the travel card. Okay, so, and it might be the dating as well, like you take the opportunity to date. It's maybe beautiful weather outside and you are happy on the inside, so you want to share yourself with the world. So I call the four archangels in the four corners of the world, and here we have the Lord with the Eight of Wands. So the Lord, he holds the wand, and this one is throwing it away. So I'm thinking why this lucky event is happening, or this you are feeling such a high and uplifted energy. It might be because you have learned to take better care of yourself. When you learn to take better care of yourself and have boundaries and become your own authority, it's also easier to share yourself with others because you don't get so nervous, you don't get so upset, you don't get so dramatic. So it's more like you are sharing yourself from a point of like being centered and stable in your own gravity field, and then you can stretch outside. The more comfortable you become in your own skin, the more you create your own empire, the more you can also stretch outside your borders, because when you collect yourself like with aligning with yourself, having better self-esteem, trusting yourself, stubbornly standing by your own side. That is giving you a lot of power fire also, and therefore you might become might be able to be the bigger person and not be so dramatic in situation, but actually clear up the mess and say, well, we do like this instead. I think this will be a good plan, and you kind of help other people with the ideas that you come forward with. It might be that an Aries person or fire person or a male person is going to contact you as well. It doesn't have to be a male person, but a person that stands in their own authority and kind of have a certain air of them with power and self-esteem, okay? So I call the 6 elements: earth, wind, fire, water, spirit, and ether to join us here today and to give us a clear view reading for my dear Virgo viewers. So I want my dear Virgos to have love in their lives and to find themselves in loving relationships. I also want you to have creative success and to be able to walk on your highest path towards your highest destiny. So, my dear Virgos, what's going on for you? First half of June 2018. Okay, so there it was. Ready. Okay, so I will just tune in to you and your reading for a few seconds. Okay, so my dear Virgo, it's very early morning, so we have a little bit of light coming in through my curtains, or, well, it's not really curtains, it's black things you draw down before your window. It's a roof window, so it still comes in a little bit in the cracks, but it's kind of beautiful as well. So, Virgo, this is your future there, and this is your now, and this is your past. And here we have the Hermit, and that's you. So I'm thinking it's here in your own solitude inside yourself that you have made this new energy that you have now in your life possible. So whatever happens in the future, you will be much more resilient and much more stable to be able to take care of whatever crap comes your way, because you're not so easily reactive anymore. When we take really good care of our inner space, stay with our feelings, meditate a lot of mindfulness, a lot of yoga, a lot of walks in nature, then we actually start to shine with our own inner light. So eventually when you close your eyes, you won't see darkness anymore. You will see light, even in a dark room, because that's how powerful you eventually will become with this clearing your inner space and making your temple more habitable. So we can't do this in very social situations. We need to take time and space for ourselves to be able to create this sanctuary inside. So if you have felt cut off from the world, or no one is contacting you, nothing is going on with the social agenda, don't worry. It's not that you are abandoned. It's that you have been given a time and space where there's possibilities for you to go inside if you take the chance. Okay. And that's in the past, so probably May might be something that has gone on in your whole life as well. And this is in the now, so it's the first part of June. And we have, so we have the Four of Pentacles and also the World card. So I'm thinking you have learned about boundaries. We saw the Four of Pentacles, and we saw the Four, the Emperor, and here you have the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is kind of the miser, a person that lives in a tower, egocentric, doesn't share their riches. But I'm thinking you have actually been able to build boundaries for yourself, walls, and that make it easier for you, as I said, to keep your own energy, keep your own strength, become more stubborn, trust yourself more. So it's actually like you have savored your energy, and this was probably exactly what you needed to learn. So it's not bad thing. If you've always been stubborn your whole life and never let anyone in and always saying no, then you probably need to open up more. But if you have had problems with boundaries and saying no and not just giving everything away to everyone, you probably have learned this lesson now. I had a very interesting dream once. I might have told you about it before, but I was trying to build, it was the divine kind of telling me to build a fortress, and I tried to build a fortress, but I wasn't that successful. Eventually I took all my books in all my shelves and I put them in plastic bags and dipped them in cement and tried to build my walls like this, but they still caved in and the door was hopelessly thin. It was wood, but it was as thin as this card, so anyone could break it down with huffing and puffing. So I know how it is to be without boundaries, but my solution to this eventually, when enemies were going to attack me, was to actually, when they were not at home, I took their castle. So I'm thinking this is what you have done too. You might have been in situations with authority figures and you learned from them, even if they were actually like a pain in your behind. You learned from them. So you took and done things in their image. Okay, so you learned from them how to, even if you didn't like their behavior, you thought it was like not a very highly moral thing to do, but you were taught in that situation to that you needed to become more like this, more stubborn, more like not always telling everyone what you are up to, or not always trusting that people will be your friend, but becoming a little bit more. So I think you know already unconditional love. You just needed to be able to take care of your own energy here on earth. Okay, so that was in the now, so that's June, and you might be get like some opportunity to use your newfound boundaries. And here we have the Nine of Swords and and the Hangman. So it's it's something that wants to be released here. It's still something that you haven't been able to sacrifice, something that you still holds on to, probably something that feels very familiar. It might be a situation where you are feeling socially awkward, or you want to belong, but you don't feel like you belong. You feel like you're a little bit an outsider, and this is a good thing, because you need to, if you, sometimes we are really scared of of doing things that's asked of us from spiritual point of view. We say no, we don't want to. For example, I didn't want to build boundaries towards my peers. I wanted to be like an open book and share everything about me, and I wanted people to learn from that instead of being suspicious and closed off and everything. But then I learned about balance, that you can't do you can't be all open, because then other people will be all closed. So even if I didn't like it, I needed to do it. And I think it's something similar here. It doesn't have to be with boundaries. It can be like you want to be friends with someone, but they kind of make it impossible because they don't respect you, and you might need to let them go. So that's the most obvious thing that I see. And you don't want to, because they are familiar, they're home. You might feel a great connection with them as well. And it's just that they don't honor your connection. So that's the most likely thing, but it might be other things too. Just that you are not being respected in the way that you should, and you need to kind of say no to those situations. It's the law of repulsion. When you say a firm no, for example, if you are in a bicycle club, you are bicycling every Saturday, but no one's talking to you ever. So even if you like the bicycling with other people, you might need to stop doing that and start bicycling for yourself, because it's like not it's it's not honoring you to be in a situation with people that is not respectful towards you. So the law of repulsion, when you say no to something, you get less of that and more of hopefully what you want instead. Okay. So, and here we have a 5 of Cups. So 5 of Cups is disappointment. It's probably what you led you through all these lessons, so you were able to find yourself and become this good friend with yourself, with what I saw, but you're still very disappointed with other people. So you have learned to take better care of yourself, but you still don't know really how to be as harmonious when you are together with other people. They still let you down, they still make you feel disappointed, but this is in the past, so it might be talking about something that happened in the past and that you know have released yourself from. But it's again this, we see this is some it's an otter chasing a fish. Here we have a dog chasing a rabbit. So it's like you see the world is like only for the the predators, and they take whatever they want, and it's you don't want to, it's like you don't want to be here with this hermit thing here. But here you have the wolf that's by your side, and it's kind of showing you that you are able to walk strong alone. You don't want it, you don't want to be with, you want to be with other people, but you shouldn't be with other people just because you feel lonely and let them disrespect you. Okay, so that's the best interpretation I can give of the energy I feel here. Okay, so that felt good. Okay, and here we have the 8 of Wands. So 8 of Wands is probably you trying to fix this. You want to make it better. You want to get through to people. You want to pierce into their mind and make them understand you, so you don't have these misunderstandings all the time. So for example, the bicycle club where people are not talking to you, you might suspect that they are not talking to you because they think something about you that's not fully right. So you want to tell them that I suspect that you have this viewpoint of me, and I want to say that it's not true. And it's totally fine to do this. It's a good thing to do this. But if they still don't listen after you have really explained yourself and really try to make the best thing you can from this situation, because it's 8, so it's connected to your soul, like how your soul tried to make it better and better and better. So you try new, different, beautiful things to solve the issue. With 8 of Swords, for example, we try to listen to others and make everything that they say. With the 8 of Coins, we try to apply ourselves and find, like work harder, put more effort into the situation. With the 8 of Wands, we try to explain ourselves better. We try to communicate ourselves better so that people will understand us. With 8 of Cups, we kind of give up on them and walk alone. And this is what I sense that you have been doing in the past. But now you try something else. You want to be, you want people to understand you. You don't want to end up in an awkward situation where you feel like, well, this is a misunderstanding, or I couldn't get through to that person, or it's like we always end up in this difficult situation, hurting each other, and I don't want it to be like this. And here you have a 4 of Wands. So this was the reason to why you had to build boundaries in the first place. When you become more grounded, when you start to respect yourself, trust yourself, you also start to love yourself. And when you find yourself like this, you find love. So you found like the source of universal love because you started to take better care of yourself. So it's what I said. Now you're also better equipped to take better care of others because you have this platform now. And when you are super sure that you are worthy of being loved and worthy of being respected, it's not so hard anymore to deal with people that's hurting a great deal. They might say, well, go out the door, I don't want to see you anymore, you are so like this and this and that and that. And you might you do respect them for what they are saying, and you say, okay, I will go, but not until I see that you are all right. Okay, or you say, I will go, but not until you have told me what's what's the matter with you? What made you so upset with me? So you are not so caught up in the drama anymore. You are not, screaming and shouting you too and smacking the door. You are calm, you are cool, you are warm, you are generous. Okay, so that's what comes from this situation where you have learned to build boundaries. Okay, so you don't have to you don't take things so personal anymore. This is also a wedding card. So or buying a new house. But I'm thinking this is mostly about you cleaning out your temple and making yourself this stable. And here we have justice. So some of you might be dealing with an air sign, Libra, most certain, but can also be Gemini or Aquarius. But it's an universal card. It's not talking about just one person, or it's talking about justice. It's talking about fairness. It's talking about seeing things from an above perspective and being able to pierce through there with truth. So you have both Eight of Wands and Justice. So you are not easily scared anymore by people intimidating you and trying to push your buttons to make you go away, or or intimidate you to feel like you are not worthy or something like that. You won't be triggered by this. You are in much better harmony and balance inside of you, and you know that you always try your best. So when people tell you that you are that or this or that or whatever, you don't get triggered by it. You think, well, is that true? No, I don't think so. It doesn't feel right. So you say, no, that's actually not how I am, and I'm sorry if you got that impression of me. What I'm really trying to say here is, and you try to tell what it is that you want them to see, your truth. You just want to communicate your truth, and hopefully that would make this person calmer or less disappointed. And this might also be someone doing this for you, doing this courtesy for you, maybe Sagittarius or Libra. And here we have a Ten of Swords. So even if it goes like, it doesn't work, it's like your old ways of doing things is flying out the window. It doesn't matter if the person in that second breaks up with you and never want to see you again, because it doesn't trigger you the same way. You feel like, oh, that's sad because I had so much more to give this person, or I wish they would have listened. But you don't take it personally anymore, and you understand that you can't control the situation. So it's like dying before you die. It's like, yes, okay, so this was taken away, and I did my best in this situation. I really tried to explain myself. So you don't feel nervous. You don't feel upset. You just trust life. You trust whatever happens. And if someone doesn't want to be your friends anymore, you let them go. But not before you have told them what you really wanted to say. So it seems like you have been in a situation, maybe with a little bit dramatic person, or in a dramatic situation where you actually kept your cool. It might not have helped the situation per se, but I'm thinking it was a grand doorway for you. You have 11 here, and you had the Hangman there, 11, 12. So I'm thinking you are going through some great doorway when it comes to keeping your calm, not becoming dramatic, not taking things so darn personal, letting go of control, accepting things. Okay, I accept that this person doesn't believe me, or I accept that they have this view of me. I accept that they don't want to make peace with me, or don't want to apologize. And you don't get so upset with it. So it's like you have really mastered some really high and difficult energies or difficult teaching. So that's really good. It might not have been such a rewarding situation, but you are more ready to sacrifice things, and to not, you don't hold on to it with the declining grasp of death. You have actually kind of already sacrifice to death and say, yes, if you want to come and take stuff in my life, you are welcome. Because you know that when things leave, other things will come in its stead. It's like with water. If water is running away, and new water will run in. So it's like with the ocean, with the waves and everything. So it's always going to be replaced by new energy. So for example, if you lose all your friends, it's going to be replaced by spiritual work and inner growth. So something else will come in its stead, even if it's not what you planned, but it's kind of your destiny, and you have to trust that it's going to take you to your best destination. Underneath the Five of Cups, we have a Four of Swords. Four of Swords is also Libra, so some of you might be dealing with a Libra person that have probably they are very disappointed with you. They have certain opinions with you. It doesn't have to be a Libra, but it's a person living by their old rules, the old rules that you need to be like this, you should be like that, and you don't play by these rules anymore. So people might get upset with you. Maybe you don't play by the same, you don't project in the same way that you did before. You don't catch people when they fall, if they fall deliberately just to get your attention. You don't, you are not so easily played anymore. So this might make people very disappointed in you, and they might feel like you don't love them anymore. So they are trying to shunt you out, or ghost you, or disregard you, or they're thinking you are an awful person and you made them disappointed, and they are not going to talk with you. So a little bit grumpy there. We can see this with they are not happy. Okay, so and this might be you, of course, as well. Someone has really tried to make their best effort with telling you the truth, but you kind of didn't believe in them, and now you don't want to talk with them. So it might be that too. And here we have the Five of Swords, so the person that really tried to communicate, it kind of didn't help. But the interesting is that this person has the colors from both of these people's clothing. So I think the both persons had the best intentions. It's just that you might be on different levels when it comes to spiritual education, and then it's very hard to make yourself understood. If people have a certain consensus, maybe people have a certain consensus of you could never criticize me, because if you criticize me, I would judge myself even worse. So you can never say a bad thing, and then that will be all that we will be able to talk about. Like, how could you say this to me? And you said the thing you said not because you wanted the person to be upset, but because you wanted you both to be able to solve the issue. But the person is so upset with you, how could you say that? But, well, it's the truth, it's how I feel, it's the truth from my point of view. I wanted to hear the truth from your point of view, but the only thing that this person can do is obsessing about what you said, so you're getting nowhere. And if you would have been a person like them, you would have known that you could never ever talk about these things, and you would have beat around the bush and go like the cat around hot oatmeal, and you wouldn't have try to communicate clearly. But you are all about this right now. You don't, or forever from now on, maybe you are not going to beat around the bush anymore. You are going to talk directly and piercing and truthful and honest and honorable, because you don't mean any harm to this person. You just want to dig out what's really the problem, and make it so you can say you can solve it. But this person just feels like you try to steal their energy, or try to steal their dignity, or humiliate them, or attack them, or so they live in another world. It's very hard to communicate with this person. The best, if they were a child, you could hug them until they kind of give up and break down in your arms. But if it's your boss at work, or a co-worker, or the person delivering ice cream to you, or whatever, it's very hard, because you can't just hug them until they release all this pain. Okay, and here you have in the center the Lovers. So for most of you, this will be a partnership problems between a romantic partner, but also between people that you really love, as your children, your parents, your family, your dearest friends, things like this, and you are not on the same level, but you have this intense connection and being drawn to each other. So that probably makes this person even more sad. How could you do this to me when I am the person that love you the most? And you probably didn't do it because you didn't like them. You really wanted to solve the problem, I see, but it crashed and burned because you're not on the same level. But why you have this attraction in the first place is because one needs to learn from the other, okay? And I think it's like this, from what I see with your cards, that probably this person triggered you to grow like this in the first place, but now you have kind of outgrown them, and now you need to teach them. So they were maybe difficult towards you, so you had to go through a little bit of hell to become this cool, and now when you are this cool, they think you have changed into something monstrous. But you haven't. You just speak to them from a place where you're not scared about, talking about deep things, or talking about what really matters, or the thing that could really solve the problem. So you're not you're piercing, but in the same time unconditionally loving. So you don't mean any harm. You just want to finally be able to solve this situation, instead of you doing the same stupid pattern for eons. So, and here we have the Eight of Cups. So finally you probably get like tired with them. I tried my best. You don't get what I'm saying. I really applied myself in this situation. You still just think that I'm a monster, or that you can't, I'm too harsh, or so you just leave the situation. So we can see this with the blue cloth here is leaving the situation, but still with the blue and red. So I'm thinking the Eight of Cups is like, yes, you leave the situation, but it's like a boomerang. You won't be leaving forever. You will start to reminisce about this person, and you will go back to this school again, because it's a school for both these energies to rub off against each other and have these kind of conflicts until you solve them. And mostly it's about making this person less scared, and you less hopeless, okay? Because it feels like you feel so misunderstood, and it's no getting through to this person. There's no talking to you. I'm thinking it's the song. If I remember, I will put it in the description box. There's no talking to you. Okay, and it's 8 again, so 8, 8, and we have 11 Justice here also. So sometimes 11 Justice and 8 Strength card move place in the tarot deck because they are very similar. This is more about truth, and the 8s are more about strength and your soul, but it comes from the same source. So even if you leave this situation now to have another vacation, you come from vacation and returning to vacation because there's no talking to you here. It's no talking to this person. It might be the other way around, also no talking to you. And here we have the Queen of Wands. So you're not going to disregard yourself in this situation. You're not going to go back to the old thing where you would have said, because you wanted to be loved by this person, you went back and said that you're sorry, even if it meant going back to the old kind of pattern. So you just did it because for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of the children, for the sake of your past history, for the sake of this person, you didn't want them to be sad. But now you are in your self-respect. You are not going to budge. So Queen of Wands is usually Aries, as is the Emperor. And she comes underneath 10 of Swords. So I guess whatever will happen here in June, you will be hurt. But you will stand tall in your own conviction that this person is the person that kind of needs to change. They need to get less scared. Okay, they need to be less dramatic. They need to take things less personal, exactly as what you have learned. And it's like you walk away in honor. It's not like you are you are not angry with them, but you are not going to budge either. So Queen of Wands together with Eight of Cups, it's well, it can be no talking to you either before this person have solved it and come with, okay, I understand, you didn't want, you actually didn't want, you weren't rude towards me, you actually told me the truth. I heard the truth then from 10 other people, and finally I realized, yes, okay, you just tried to help me, and now I realize this. And then you will step down from your throne and say, okay, yes, we will be friends again. But it's like a position of, well, I have done everything I can, and I'm not going to continue humiliate me if I'm going to take this much crap from this person just because they are scared of me. So, okay, and Four of Pentacles. So it kind of advises you, you know, we saw the World card together with this. It's advise you to actually keep your boundaries in this situation. Don't budge. Don't fall for the old martyr tricks or the old passive-aggressive things. Don't let it get to you. 4, and you remember the Emperor in the beginning. So you need to be the Emperor now. The Queen of Wands is much more warm and generous than the Emperor, but she is warm and generous also to herself. So you are taking your side in this. You have tried everything you can possibly be asked to do more. So when this person gets like a little bit at least of what you have said, then you can reconcile. But in this situation, you need to stand tall and keep your boundaries. So the key is to do the best you can, and when that doesn't work, you don't have to be nervous or anxious or sad. It's just okay. So then the divine wants us both to kind of digest the situation a little bit, and then we'll see, either we hook up again and you know, continue where we left off, or this person will have to learn from someone else that can teach them on a level where they can understand. So it's like graciously waiting for new instructions, and also graciously being able to let a person go if that has to happen, if you really can't get through to each other, even though you try this hard. Okay. So this is going into June, maybe July as well. And we have a Three of Pentacles. So Three of Pentacles is a very good card. It's people wants to fix it, a health program. I want to fix what's broken. I can apply myself. I want to try my best in this situation. So it might be that this person that felt so very, that you were so very unfair, has now... maybe they started to miss you, maybe they started to see your point. Maybe first they were shocked by you having this high demands on them to be able to talk about issues that you always have been considerate enough to leave like untouched before, and now you didn't do this anymore. So first they were maybe upset with you or shocked that you didn't respect them maybe in the way that you did before. But it's not about respect. It's about before you you saw where the person were hurting, and you didn't want to, you know, go and pick in their wound. But eventually you saw that this is the issue that's preventing us from moving forward. So we need to address the wound. So we need to talk about the wound, what's the actual problem, because if we never solve that, we will never be able to move on. And here the person is actually ready to talk about the wound. This is healing. It's like a health program, Holy Trinity, you, the divine, another person working together to find a solution, putting in some hard work, counseling even. Well, so that's a very good card. Yes, okay. And here we have the Chariot. So it's very possible that this person is going to get up the hopes eventually, like still in the beginning of the summer or midsummer. They're going to get up the hope for this relationship, and maybe they will come to you. But with the Chariot and Eight of Wands and Five of Swords, it's also possible that they will be a little bit like my way or the highway. They want to fix it, but maybe in the way that they dictate. And it might also be that this person is going to travel for work, It might also be that you are going to travel for work. Maybe you you say to hell with this, and you decide to move along with your life. That might be it as well. But I'm reading it in different ways, and in this case, it's this person wants to come back and sort this out with you. But when we read it as a long line, and this is just a continuous about this line, it's about you, and maybe you want to move on with your life, or you just keep on moving on with your life, and this, if this person catch up with you, fine, but you won't wait for them. You are going to continue with your life. And here we have a Queen of Pentacles. So Queen of Pentacles might be a Virgo again. It might be you. And it might be a Taurus or a Capricorn. And it kind of shows this self-love that you have. And we can see this, that you are not really... if this is the other person, it's not going to be that easy to reconcile, because you know what you have learned. You are so full of your wisdom, and this person still wants this kind of artificial respect that you gave them before, because you when you saw their wounds and you took them into consideration, even if it hurt you, you were kind of very strong and the bigger person always, and you just let them be in the belief that you didn't see their wound, or that you didn't understand that this was the problem, and they kind of ask of you that you will put them on this pedestal again, this elevated place. And I don't think you are going to be so up for it, because it seems like you know your wisdom now. You know how love should be. It should be equal. You want justice. You want two adult people to be together, not one that's like a self-proclaimed leader, and then you that are supposed to kind of bow before them, even though you might feel like you have a clearer vision of what's going on than do them. So I hope you understand what it is that I'm trying to say here, that it's a person that are used to being elevated, probably because they are fragile. So people always say, yeah, you are right, because they know in other case they're going to get very upset. So I always tell, like, yeah, you are right. But when they walk away from there, they know that, well, they weren't right. But this person lives in the illusion that everyone in their surrounding is thinking that they are right, and because they're always able to speak very loudly and silent other people. But why other people get silence is because they are the bigger person, and they don't want a conflict. They don't want stupid drama. So they just, yeah, okay, yes, you are right. So it's not that they really think that the other person is right. It's just that they didn't want to rub it in their face that you're still wrong. It doesn't matter how much you heighten your voice, or like how much you how angry you get, you're still wrong. So this is kind of the position you have taken right now, that you are not going to play that game anymore. This person needs to grow up or not be with you at all. And here we have a Ten of Pentacles. So it seems like you are aiming more towards like strong values in your life. If one family member is difficult, you spend time with the rest of the family. If relationships are difficult, you spend more time with work, or perfecting your house, or your garden, or your economy, or your assets. This is a place of value. So it seems like you will take very, very good care of yourself, and you are still waiting, but on this level where you want to be truly committed, not one playing the emperor and really being the clown, and the other person just try to be grown up about it. You want two grown-ups. So that is your requirement, and if that is not given, you are going to, it seems like you are going to focus mostly on like family and career, money and income, and maybe health as well, maybe exercising and taking care of your body and things like this. So being with friends. And here you have a Princess of Pentacles. So this is actually making me really happy that you have this card in this position, because it says, I'm not giving up my inner child for anyone. So for some of you, you might have a child that you are taking their position instead of being in consensus with the rest of the world. But for most of you, it will be that you finally take side with your inner child. You're not going to sell this your true natural self short anymore, just because to be able to belong, or to be able to be heard, or to be able to be loved. You love yourself so much now that you are rock solid, true and true. You are taking care of this. You're parting with yourself. You're taking care of yourself. It's like you hold this person in honor, this inner person. That's you. It's your inner child archetype, who you were when you came. So it's like you're really healing childhood wounds and all wounds that you have had in your life up till now, because there's no conflict inside of you anymore. You are totally parting with yourself. There's still conflicts on the outside, because there's a certain momentum to things that we create in our life. And it's also that maybe the peers, the people around you haven't been able to change in the same speed as do you, but you have opened a door for them to follow you through to this, and also become in more consideration to their inner child, because this person probably hates their inner child, and they don't want anyone to see it, so it's covered up, so they don't align with their inner child. They don't love it. They have kind of tossed it in the basement and show some mask, and you know that the mask is false, so you don't want to go along with it anymore. You want them to, you want people to follow you here. So Nine of Swords is actually a good card in this situation. You have Ten of Swords here, Nine of Swords there, so it's actually taking up the problem to the surface, so it can be able to heal. If you if you have hurt your leg and then you put it underneath a cover, like a cover and maybe a blanket, and you just don't want to show people that you're hurt, it will get infected down there, and you won't have the opportunity to heal it. But here, with this pain being dragged to the surface because you don't pet this person the right on the right like the right way anymore, in the way that you did before. You had like this consensus of this is how it should be done, and now you're not taking part of that anymore. It's actually bringing the wound to surface so it can become healed, and you do it for love. So you don't want this false kind of love anymore. You want real connections. So, and it's other things with this Lovers card also, so I will read it for you because it's a central card of the reading. It's the most important card, kind of affecting all the other cards as well. It is Beltane, and the Mayflowers are in bloom. Lord and Lady, or High Priest and High Priestess, have joined together as divine lovers, conveying the idea both of the great rite and the union between God and Goddess, and of its reflection in the everyday world of romantic love between two people. In addition, the card depicts the union of two aspects of the self, conscious and unconscious, inner feminine, inner masculine, while the divine self embodying this union is depicted as the white hind in the distance. So it's also that you have finally joined with your inner child, and you now in Queen of Wands is a little bit like an Amazonas warrior. Queen of Pentacles, she is like unconditionally giving, and now you have both and your inner child, so you're much more whole than you were before. The process of union in all its potential is a symbolically enacted in the great rite of Wicca, and was symbolized by alchemists as the union of sun and moon at the time of eclipse. This same theme appears encoded in the central story of Druidry, the tale of Ceridwen and Taliesin, in which Ceridwen, as a lunar goddess, eats the solar god, depicted as a grain of wheat, a clear image of the way the moon appears to eat the sun at the time of a total eclipse. An image of the conjunction between sun and moon appears carved on the stone beneath the two lovers, as does the symbol of serpent and egg, a version of which is found on the Druid altar stone by Hadrian's Wall in Cumbria. So it's also often depicted this with the serpent and the egg in the world card that we saw. Looking forward for you. I'm hearing a forest dove outside my house. It's really loud, but you probably can't hear it because the new phones are so great with keeping out unnecessary noise, but I wish you could hear this. So the lover appear again in the card's numerological counterpart, Cernuno, so that's the devil card. There they are deeply asleep, suggesting the eclipse of reason and clarity that passionate love can often evoke. It is important to understand that the lover's card and the process of union described here do not refer to physical gender. The union suggested by this card apply whether we experience love for the same sex, the opposite sex, or both, or family members. In addition, the terms great right, feminine and masculine, priest and priestess should be understood first and foremost in their inner rather than the outer sense. So it's like you have become healed aspects of you. It's like your soul has taken home lost soul parts, and that's why you have become this cool. And it's also why you are taking your side and your inner child side. You have healed yourself in a very beautiful way, and you're also opening up for this person to heal, even if they are really angry with you. When you don't when you rub people like the wrong way, their fur stands out and they are upset, but it's more chance that this person will get it than if everyone is kind of baby this person all their life and pamper them and put them in cotton and, you know, not ever let them being able to heal their wound. So I'm going to take a Sacred Rebels oracle card for you. It's with Elena Fairchild. So for my beautiful Virgos in the first part of June. Free from judgment, free to love. It's the same card that came for Leo. So it's a beautiful card. I'm sorry for my throat. It's intense to read this much. So you are now I took 38 instead. Restore and replenish, and this is what you have recently done, but this is what you came to. Free from judgment, free to love. Imagine a world so infused with bliss, love, and wonder that you naturally and always feel as safe as a nourished, cherished baby in the arms of the universal mother. Life mothers us with kindness, and sometimes when we need it to grow, through challenges as well. Accepting this mothering in its gentle and fierce phases can be difficult at times, yet there are those brave enough in spirit to go forth onto their life path with absolute trust in the universal mother. Some are even part of our plan to help mother others so that they too can surrender fear and live more freely. This oracle comes with a message for you. You are learning about mothering and being mothered. You have these two queens here, so you're much better in taking care of yourself. You might not do this in a typical way. It might be through bearing children, but it could also be through adopting children, raising children, or otherwise taking care of children and loving them as if they were your own. You might also be learning how to mother on a rather different scale, working with groups, communities, causes or purpose that needs your devotion, your energy, your belief in their value, and your willingness to be the wild tigress or the supportive shoulder to lean upon in order to bring those worthwhile groups to life. You may also be an aspect of the universal mother on spiritual level. Some people that do this are male, some are female, some have children and some do not. Some are healers and some work in seemingly more ordinary professions. They have a mothering aspect in common and they love and respect life. They believe in life are moved by compassion and are genuinely encouraging and respectful of people. Rather than taking perverse delight when someone stumbles, they want to help. They are ordinary people with an extraordinary natural tendency to nurture life around them. This oracle brings you confirmation that you are amongst the Universal Mother's special clan of nurturing spirits that help to honor life on this planet. You are also being asked to open up to receive more nurturing yourself. You can also do this for yourself. You can also choose to open up and allow others to nurture you. It might make you feel a little bit vulnerable at first, especially if you are not used to doing this, but you don't have to worry. You will get used to valuing yourself enough to know that needing love and affection from others is an opportunity not only for you to receive, but for someone else to give, which involves them being received too. If you are tired and have been taking care of everyone else, then take some time to shift the patterns and allow life to support you too. The Universal Mother helps the helpers so as they can keep helping. It works rather well, you see, for those that give so much to also receive abundantly. So I'm thinking it's time for you to receive. You really have these mothering aspects because you have once agreed to taking care of this person and to not rub them the wrong way. But now it's the time for this shift and for them to start to grow up. As I said, if you are only being held by the this being covered up, your wounds can't heal. So it's time for challenge for this person and for you to be better taken care of. So it's like a shift here, and it's difficult with transformations, but I'm thinking it won't be so difficult for you because it seems like you are very strong and determined and calm inside yourself. Of course, many Virgos will be this other side also extremely extremely feeling like extreme victims and being lost when people are not acting in the way that they should. But then it's a growth opportunity to be able to start to take care of yourself and love the inner child instead of having people on the outside always have to give you confirmation that you are good. So it can go that way too. Okay, my dear Virgos, thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing to my channel. I want you to take really, really good care, and I welcome you back to my mid-month June reading that I will perform in the beginning of June. Okay, bye-bye.